To illustrate how to use filters in Excel, we'll create a visualization that shows the relationship between the percentage of the population below the poverty line, the rate of obesity, and the percentage of the population with health insurance. And we'll start by creating a report that shows the relationship between the percentage of the population below the poverty line for 2014 and the rate of obesity. So I'm going to add a new PowerView sheet. And in that sheet, I will add the name from 2014, the percentage of people below the poverty line. Then I will take the question from the US Chronic Disease Database and the data value. Now, there's a couple of things to notice. First of all, there is a warning at the top that we may need to create some relationships between the tables. And the system generates this error because there are some data values in the US Chronic Disease Data Table that are not so associated with a specific state. For our purposes, we're going to ignore it because we're going to deal with this by means of a filter later on. Second, you will notice there is an enormous amount of extraneous information in the report, and we'll get rid of this, most of this, by using filters. So we'll first create a filter on question. In the image here, the filter pane is open. If it's not, click on PowerView and then select Filters area from the View group. All right, so I'm going to drag the question from the US Chronic Disease Indicators into the Filters pane. You see the long list of filters that we have, long list of questions that we have. I'm going to scroll down again to obesity among adults 18 years or older. And you see that that significantly changes the report. I can now minimize this filter. It doesn't make any changes to the report, but I just want to do that because it makes it a little easier to add additional filters later on. I can now also remove the field from the report, and you see that nothing really changes in terms of the values. You'll notice that there's still a value that is associated with no state. So there is this empty line here. And we're going to get rid of that by putting a filter on name. So if I drag name into the filters area, you see that blank is one of the options. So I'm going to select all and deselect blank. And you see that it has disappeared now. Again, let me minimize that. Now, finally, there is one more filter we need to add. The chronic disease data set are for 2014 and 2018. And since we're only looking at the 2014 economic data, we also only want to look at the 2014 values in the chronic disease data table. So I'm going to drag year start into the filters pane. You see that initially, because the year start is a numerical value, we will get a slider, but we can change that by clicking on the list filter mode. You click on that, you get the list. So we select 2014 from here. And now you see there is one more issue. This one tells me that there are 102 lines for 2014, suggesting that there is a duplication somewhere. So, because we have only 51 states or territories in our economic data set. So the way to solve that is, as we've done before, we're going to change the aggregation method on data value from sum to average. And now we've created the first report that we will use in a minute to create a bubble chart.